Welcome to the City Manager's Report. The City Manager's Report, a look at city updates and municipal news, and a preview of the next Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda. Your hosts, Emily Springstroh of Oshkosh Media, and City Manager Mark Rohloff.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us on your City Manager's Report right here on GovTV, your source for the latest and greatest news and updates going on in the city of Oshkosh, as well as a preview of the upcoming Common Council meeting agenda. I'm your host, Emily Springstroh, joined as always by our City Manager, Mark Rohloff. Welcome, Mark. Thanks for joining us.
Great to be here, Emily.
It's great to have you, and as always, we always have a really full show of a lot of things to talk about and hit on. So we're going to go ahead and dive into the first half of the show with some hot topics, things people are talking about in the city, and then we'll take a little break and then come back with a review of the Common Council meeting agenda for Tuesday, June 12th, 2018. So, Mark, this is the biggest topic that everyone's talking about this week. It is Chief Franz's last week as fire chief here in Oshkosh, and we had a very big Police and Fire Commission meeting on Tuesday where the new fire chief was sworn in. Tim Franz was honored. What's it been like saying goodbye to this longtime chief?
It was a wonderful event. I was so glad that we were able to tape it so that people could see it. But you know, Tim Franz has been with us for over 30 years and 17 years as fire chief, and you can just see the love that these guys have for their chief. Their entire command staff was there just to honor him. And then they were on the other side of the room, there were rank and file folks. A lot of times, you know, in other areas, other communities, you may not see that, but you really saw it here. And so it was very nice. And they gave Chief Franz a wonderful memento. I don't know how he's going to carry it, but they gave him a bronzed fire helmet. Now, if you know how heavy baby shoes are when they're bronze, take a fire helmet. Imagine that is one heavy little thing. But I think it's a great tribute to Chief Franz's dedication to us, dedication to his profession, and what he meant to all of the members of our fire department. So that's the first half of it.
Very cool.
And
yes.
The second half of it was to welcome our new fire chief, Mike Stanley, who starts on June 9th. And will be taking over. And Mike comes to us from Aurora, Colorado. He was a commander in their fire department where he ran the EMS area, so very familiar with the operations, similar to what we have. I think he'll, as I understand, he is the first fire chief we've had from outside the department in the city's entire history.
Really?
So, you know, that's a big cultural change for everybody. But I think what the PFC, the Police and Fire Commission, and other staff looked for was somebody who was going to be very much a complement to Chief Franz's tenure. And I think we're going to find that in Chief Stanley. So he's got his family moved here. There's his wife Sandy with him. They're excited about moving to Oshkosh. And we're looking forward to everything he's going to bring to the department. Whenever you get somebody new like this, there's a great opportunity to look for new ways to do things. There are going to be a lot of folks in the department said, hey, if we ever, you know, how about trying this? How about trying that? It's a wonderful injection of energy. And given the tenure that Chief Franz provided in such an outstanding tenure, we're going to talk some later on in the meeting, and one of his legacies is our EMS service and working with the outlying areas. What Chief Stanley's going to be able to do to basically serve as a launch pad from everything that was set up by Chief Franz. So very excited about this and look forward to many years of working with Chief Stanley.
Yes, and so Chief Stanley starts officially next week, so you'll start seeing him around a little more often, and we'll be sure to introduce you on Facebook and all these fun things. So we're looking forward to getting to know him a little bit better in the next coming weeks here. Next item that we want to talk about, Mark, is 9th Avenue. Now, we've kind of talked about this in the coming months leading up to it, but it's finally happening now that the weather's cooperating. The street repainting is approaching in a couple weeks.
Yeah, and it's really more than just a simple repainting. What we're doing is clarifying what's always existed, that 9th Avenue east of Reichow is a 2-lane street. And because of the width of it, there's always been a belief that it's a 4-lane road. And you've had people make a lot of close calls because they try to drive like it's a 4-lane road. There have never been anything painted there. So we're clarifying exactly what is there. So from Rykow to Knapp, you're going to see that it's going to be painted similar to what was done a couple years ago on Murdoch Avenue. So what we wanted to show you was Murdoch Avenue as it looks today. And when it was first painted, it didn't look very good. The old paint marks were still there, and you'll see that on 9th, but you can see that a couple years later, those old paint marks are essentially gone. You got to look really close now to see that. But you'll have a lane, you'll have a dedicated turn lane in the middle for turning both ways, whether it's streets or some of the residences that are there. It's very dangerous for those folks to pull out into this traffic. This will make it much safer for them to be able to pull out into traffic and also to turn back to either get home or onto some of the cross streets. So this is what we see on Murdoch Avenue, and the results have been very good. I know there's still a little transition that everybody has to go through, but the accidents as a result of people turning off of Murdoch have plummeted, particularly around Wisconsin Avenue, but up and down the Murdoch Avenue corridor. We believe you're going to see the same results on 9th Avenue, and I think it's just going to be a safer proposition for everybody. I think whenever a road's wider, there's an impression that you can go faster. And we have a designated speed limit out there. We want people to follow it, and I think this will help that a little better. So be on the lookout, because the week of June 18th they'll start the repainting. But just before that, it's called scarifying, which is basically trying to get rid of the old paint as much as possible. So you'll see that, or won't see that, as it starts to disappear in the coming weeks.
And will hopefully ease a lot of the confusion too, because like you said, a lot of people do think that it is a 4-lane road, and then some think it's a 1-lane road. So just having that new paint on there will help ease a little bit of the confusion of drivers. And
we know that we've done enough traffic studies that we know that even though 9th is busy, it can get by with 2 lanes with a turning lane. It'll still be able to manage the traffic, and it'll just be a safer situation. So we're happy about that.
Excellent. Moving down our list of hot topics here, Mark, we want to mention that the Pollock Community Water Park opens this Saturday, June 9th, and they are open at 11:30 a.m. till 7:30 p.m. their summer hours, and we're really excited. It's definitely a sign of summer.
It is a wonderful sign of summer. Unfortunately, we have to open a little later and close a little sooner than we have in recent years. It's tough to find, mostly kids, young people, who have the certifications to be lifeguards and things like that. So we really have to wait till school's out. So that's why we're waiting. But we're starting on June 9th, and come on down. Hopefully the weather will be cooperative, but we've got a great water park. People come from all over the area because they know it's a great place. But let's get our Oshkosh residents in there and enjoy it. It really is a wonderful facility. It's very well maintained. You can just see it's still vibrant colors and everything. And we got the skate park next door, easy parking over at Oshkosh West. So, come on out, bring the family, and enjoy the day. Still time to get season passes if you're interested as well.
Yes.
And a good value. If it's a hot summer, you'll be happy if you got the season pass.
It's a really awesome resource here in Oshkosh. Like you said, season passes. For more information, you can visit the park's website. If you're interested in getting season pass, you can come out to the water park and purchase that as well, or just contact the parks department on that. And of course, with hours and weather and things are always changing, so make sure you follow them on Facebook, because they're always posting updates on different events and fun things that are going on at the Pollock Community Water Park. So very exciting. Another really exciting event that we need to talk about is the Transload ribbon cutting. That's taking place next week as well on Wednesday. And this is a huge project. It was one of our top 10 items that we talked about last year. So maybe, Mark, give us a little bit of background, refresh our memories on what this project is.
A transload facility is a location where railroads encourage their customers who don't necessarily have rail access to load product that they want to travel by rail, because it's much less expensive than going by truck. They can do a lot more volume and things like that. And Oshkosh is the end of the line for the Wisconsin Southern Railroad in the northeast Wisconsin region. So they are putting this transload facility in place. We got a $1 million grant from the Wisconsin Department of Transportation, and they've so essentially covered almost half the cost of this project. You'll see where it's located. It's over in the Southwest Business Park. To get there, you really don't need to get there unless you're a customer of it, but it's off of Clairville Road near Highway 91. And Wednesday, June 13th at 11 o'clock, we're going to do a ribbon cutting. Watco, which is the parent company of Wisconsin Southern Railroad, they're inviting a lot of their customers. This is the only publicly owned transload facility in the state of Wisconsin, and it's the only transload facility of any kind in all of Northeast Wisconsin. And we're very generous when we talk about Northeast Wisconsin in this case. There are businesses that are going to be bringing their product from areas as far away as Wausau, 90 miles away, because there's such a scarce amount of these access points.
Right.
And it all started with us just simply wanting to get Wisconsin and Southern to move loading of Oshkosh Corporation trucks from that area behind the residential area on Allerton Drive.
Right.
So the Allerton Drive folks, all they wanted was not to have these noisy...
They want to sleep through the night.
They want to sleep through the night. And now this is all getting moved about a mile and a half down the road or down the track. And so it'll be much better for the neighborhood, much more appropriate location for this type of facility. And it's actually going to attract a lot of traffic and a lot of business. There will be businesses that will likely be more interested in our Southwest Industrial Park because of its proximity to the transload facility. So I know I'm probably getting a little geeky with this, but I really think it's going to be a great economic development tool for us to market to other throughout the area, to other businesses.
Definitely. And so Oshkosh Media will be out at the ribbon cutting, recording the whole process and all the speakers and things like that. So be on the lookout on our Facebook page. We'll be posting that for even more background on this project and the celebration of it opening and the ribbon cutting. So moving down our list, Mark, Pulco, we have an update. We're continuously using Pulco as a public input tool to collect input from the citizens of Oshkosh on different things that are happening, different plans and items that are taking place. So we have a new survey that has been posted to Pulco, and it is the transportation survey for the city of Oshkosh. And this is a great tool for them to develop their transit plan, I think it's called, Mark?
The transit development plan. We
plan.
need to do one every 5 to 10 years to really identify what needs are out there. And we want to hear from the community about that.
Yes.
So there's a few survey questions there. Just go to our website, or if you already got your Pulco app, open it up. And Transportation Survey Part 2, we've already done a little bit of surveying. And really just get your thoughts on fares, because fares are obviously a big issue, and we want your input on that. Nobody likes fare increases, but we haven't increased fares in 10 years, so we're kind of getting a feel. What do you think it should be? And
what is doable?
What's doable, what's acceptable, and just get your input on it. So this is the purpose of the Pulco app. So I encourage you to go to the App Store and download it so you can give us your input on transportation or anything. We're going to keep telling you what survey questions are out there at all the CMR shows. So just take a look at it and see what you think and give us your input on this.
Yes, definitely. And coming up next, we'll have a survey for the neighborhood, different thoughts and feelings on what you think about your neighborhood, your safety, things like that. So to download the app, visit the App Store. It's a free app. Just go ahead and download that. Otherwise, you can visit the city website, like Mark said, or www.pulco.us/Oshkosh. So the last item that we want to talk about here, Mark, in place of the question mark question, since this was just something really cool that popped up on Facebook here, we recently demoed the old Marion Road water tower.
Yeah, we did, and it's kind of fun to see. Oshkosh Media did a wonderful job of a time-lapse video, so we want to show it to everybody just to see what it's like. It was deconstructed in 2 days after being up here for 75, 80 years.
Amazing.
And just amazing how quickly it can go down in a very short amount of time. So that was the last picture you saw with 2 water towers on the skyline here.
Definitely. So we had a lot of fun, editing this video together with our special time-lapse camera that we had on top of City Hall. So it only took about 3 days, I think, for the entire demolition to happen. So we posted this video on Facebook. We had one of our followers comment a really cool photo from way back when, and this was taken, I believe, the year after it was erected. And what you see these men working on is?
That's the county courthouse, it looks like to
Pouring
me.
cement on the county courthouse, that's right.
And you can see, you know, as dull as the old water tower looked, it looks bright and shiny, even though it looks pretty cloudy there that day in 1937. So wonderful photograph and, you know, a great memory. It's so wonderful that somebody associated with the County Historical Society shared this photograph with us, and I had never seen this before, so it's
cool.
a great contrast with the old and the new, and now the new again and the old went down. So great, wonderful memories over at the Historical Society. So thanks to everybody over there for that.
Definitely, and thanks to Austin Frederick, our Facebook follower, for sharing that with us too. And we've taken a lot of photos of the new water tower, so maybe 75, 100 years from now, they'll be showing those photos long after we're gone, right?
That'll be a great idea.
Definitely. So we are still continuing to do the question mark segment, so if you do have a question for City Manager Mark Rohloff, you can send it to us on Twitter or Facebook, or send it to us via email, and he'll answer it on the next episode of City Manager's Report. Otherwise, continue to be interactive with us on Facebook and social media, and maybe we'll highlight your post or something interesting that we see shared on our wall on the next episode as well. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to dive into the Common Council meeting agenda for Tuesday, June 12th. We'll be right back on City Manager's Report.
It is sad but true that for years, some people have been using storm drains to dispose of their wastes. Sanitary sewers take waste from bathrooms and kitchens and clean them up. But storm sewers do not treat or clean up anything passing through them. Everything that enters a storm drainage system is eventually discharged into a stream, river, lake, or bay in exactly the same form as it entered. One of the responsibilities of municipalities that operate storm sewer systems is to prevent what the EPA calls illicit discharges. Illicit discharges are any discharges of non-stormwater into or through the storm sewer. When illicit discharges enter surface waters, they can kill wildlife. They can suffocate plants and fish, destroy breeding and nesting areas. Never pour or dump anything down any storm drain.
Welcome back to City Manager's Report. Thanks again for joining us. We're in the second half of the show, and that means it's time to give a preview of the Common Council meeting agenda for Tuesday, June 12th, 2018. So, Mark, we don't have anything really all that hot to talk about until the second page of the agenda. So, the first one that we're going to discuss here is the award of a bid to PTS contractors for sanitary sewer and lateral relay, paving, and miscellaneous utility repairs. This is a big number, and it's a long item for good reason.
Yeah, it's almost $3.9 million, and that's just for the contractor itself. So it's a variety of projects that we do, but a lot of sanitary sewer and lateral relays. And the area in question is just north and south of Oshkosh Avenue, Highway 21. This is east of Eagle, east of Mary Jewel Park. You'll see this area in general. If you've driven that area going to Rainbow Park or anything like that, you know that the streets are in pretty rough shape. So, but before we do that, we knew that we needed to get some sewers in there because we're doing the sewer lift station over at Mary Jewel Park. And in order for that to be effective, we want to make sure the sewers are upgraded. So a variety of streets there, Pinoqua, Graham, and a couple others are going to be getting redone, new sewers, new laterals in some cases. And also to the south on Pinoqua and Maple and some of those areas. So you're going to see a lot of activity over there. In addition, we're doing a little bit of water on Graham and Pinoqua in this area. So you're going to see some digging if you're going over there, if you're dropping your boat over at Rainbow Park or anything like that. So just please be aware that that activity will be going up. But it's a big project and it's long overdue. Pinoqua's been in pretty rough shape for a long time. Mm-hmm. And then similarly, another pretty rough street is Hughes Street, which is just off of Oregon Street, just south of the Oshkosh Corporation current headquarters and east of the airport where a lot of the aviation-related businesses are. And that's just going to be repaved in asphalt, nothing major, not a big concrete reconstruction, but certainly long overdue. We've gotten a lot of complaints over the years from various businesses and frankly, just people who work over there, just the employees and things like that. So think of like where Chester V's is and going to the south. That area is going to get done as well. So long overdue, and we're happy to have it done.
Yes, a lot of items and definitely a lot going to be happening in the future here. So we talk about this big number here, and we got to pay for it somehow. So the next items underneath here, the next three items, I think, all relating to borrowing. So tell us what the update on the borrowing situation is, Mark.
Well, annually we do borrowings to fund our capital improvement projects. The council has kept a limit on how much we borrow annually to keep our borrowings down, but we have a very aggressive capital improvement program to take care of all these projects that are needed. So we're going to open bids on Tuesday, and Ehlers and Associates, our financial advisor, will present the bids to the council, and the council will award the bids based on the lowest bid. Interest rates have gone up a little bit recently, but we still get very competitive rates, and we're happy to do this to keep our capital projects moving along.
Wonderful. So moving down into new resolutions, we have the approval of a conditional use permit and specific implementation plan for a fuel station and convenience store on the northeast corner of Oshkosh Ave and North Westfield. So this has also been a topic of conversation in Plan Commission meetings and council meetings. So tell us a little bit about what this is and what's all going to be happening.
Well, the short part of it is it's Casey's General Store, a convenience store that is proposed at the corner of Westfield when it gets rebuilt to go north into the Oshkosh Corporation headquarters and Oshkosh Avenue. But council had raised the standards quite significantly, created a brand new zoning district to up the standards for this area. And a convenience store is still a conditional use in this area, but the standards and the conditions that have been placed on this area are much higher than any other area in the city. This will by far be the most, the nicest looking convenience store, and a lot of people don't like them, and there's for good reasons. A lot of times, there's a lot of things that people don't like, but council had recently approved a Casey's General Store on Jackson Street, and you see that on the upper part of the screen. And the lower part of the screen is a different view of that for the one proposed for Oshkosh Avenue. You can see that all the bright colors are taken away. It actually has a roof that you can see with pitch on it. They try to make it look more in keeping with proximity to a residential area, in keeping with all the corporate atmosphere that's going to be created with the Oshkosh Corporation headquarters. So you see a much higher standard there, and that's the whole idea behind this, is to make sure that people understand that we are going to have a higher standard for not only for a convenience store, but for every land use that's in this new zoning district. So I think you're going to see out there a much higher standard, much better standard of product that we're going to be looking for. Council still has to approve it, but this is where we're going now. And
in addition to the roof being different, a lot of people have concerns over, for a convenience store, things that are placed outside of the convenience store, different things that are associated with that. So that these conditional use permits and the style standards affect that as well.
And in this case, things like outdoor storage of mulch and rock salt and things like that, those are prohibited in this area. The idea is that this looks very high end. Even the gas pumps themselves, it's not, the islands where they have the roof over that, it's going to have a pitched roof on that as well. All those standards are going to be there, and we can enforce those. And frankly, we can withdraw the permit if they don't cooperate with us on that. So it's a much higher standard than you've ever seen before in Oshkosh. And this, I think, is going to set a new standard that people are going to, I think, enjoy and appreciate a lot better than they have in the past.
Definitely. Well, it's exciting to see, and we look forward to learning more about that as the process continues. So the next item that we want to talk about here, Mark, is the approval of combination Class B licenses for the Morgan District, including hearing on non-renewal of licenses. And this is relating back to that new approach to liquor licenses that we're looking at. So give us a little bit of a rundown of how that's going to work.
Liquor licenses are very hard to come by. They're very limited, and there are a lot of people in town who are hanging on to these licenses, and they're frankly being unused. And while we understand the need to hang on to these licenses for future use, it's really impacting our ability to help projects move along. The idea that council has approved is that they want us to start taking back these licenses, and then as projects come along, they'll have a pool of licenses so that if somebody needs one or two or more, we can make them available. Otherwise, they're scattered at individual sites and we don't have the ability to move them. If they're all brought in, then we've got more flexibility, and actually I think it'll help businesses more, and we're trying to get people to understand that, and that'll be a little bit of education, but I've done this in the past and seen it work very well, and I think that this is a good approach for Oshkosh.
Excellent. Next item actually is all the way under city manager announcements and statements, and that is the Go Transit new bus ribbon cutting. So this is an exciting event coming up on June 19th. It'll be at noon, and that'll be right downtown at the Transit Center on Pearl Avenue. So exciting development, some 3 new buses.
It's 3 new buses. We're going to be showing off 2 of them at the ribbon cutting. The idea is we have 10 buses in our fleet that were purchased between 2003 and 2004. And 15 years is about the life for these things, and they are definitely at the end of their useful life. So the idea is we needed to get some new buses, but we are waiting until we get grants for these. So we got grants, we purchased 3 of them, and so we're going to show off the first 2 coming off the assembly line. And maybe you want to give Go Transit a chance. So come on over, take a look at it, and just see. And very reasonable rates, even though we're looking at possible increases. We got the lowest fares of any bus service in the state of Wisconsin. Come and take a look at it and see what it can offer you, and see what new buses look like. They're not the rickety old buses that I rode in when I was a kid.
No, we're very excited for this, and once again, June 19th at noon, we hope to see you there, and just come on out and help support Go Transit. And then the last item that we have here is a follow-up to a workshop on ambulance contract with outlying communities, and just talking about next steps and how that workshop went. So, Mark?
Well, I think one of the lasting legacies of Fire Chief Tim Franz was the collaboration that he did with our outlying municipalities, that he identified a need for them and a need for us. And it truly is a win-win in which we provide our ambulance service to our outlying municipalities. And we've had a contract for a number of years that's coming to expire. And the purpose of the workshop was to explain sort of the financial realities of this. And we needed to collect a more appropriate amount of money to cover our costs, what it costs us to have these extra services so that we get better coverage in the city, but we can also provide good coverage out into the towns and cities and villages that surround Oshkosh. Happy to report that Chief Franz had gone out. One of the last things, his bucket list thing as I call it, to talk to the municipalities, very appreciative and understanding of what we're doing. And so I think the next step you're going to see is we'll be bringing back the contracts, but we wanted to report back to council. We got a very favorable response from our collaborators in the outlying municipalities, and we're going to be working with them for another 5 years or so.
Wonderful. It's great to see that that's going in a positive direction, and like you said, a great ending note for Chief Franz as he makes his way out. So that is going to do it for this episode of City Manager's Report. So Mark, as always, I'd like to thank you for joining us today.
It's been a pleasure.
Again, the Common Council meeting is this Tuesday, June 12th. It's at 6 p.m. You can watch it live on GovTV and on our website at oshkoshmedia.org, or you can listen to it on 101.9 Oshkosh FM, which is also online, and on the TuneIn Radio app for mobile devices. Make sure you like Oshkosh Media on Facebook or follow us on Twitter for all of your community and government programming and updates, or you can check out our YouTube channel for government meeting replays and past episodes of your favorite programs. And as always, don't forget, if you have a question for City Manager Mark Rohloff, send it to us on Twitter at City of Oshkosh, post it on our Facebook page, or email questionmark@ci.oshkosh.wi.us, and he'll answer it on the next episode of CMR. So once again, thank you so much for tuning in to City Manager's Report, and we'll see you next time.